One of the reasons Bitcoin recently have seen a pretty strong rise is due to perhaps the fact that the US and China are currently going through a trade war.
Hello and welcome to another brand new episode of Gulf News Business Interview. And today we're asking a mood question: will Bitcoin stage a blockbuster comeback? The FOMO investors are back in the market. FOMO meaning the fear of missing out, and they are back in huge numbers. The market cap have risen tremendously to about $157 billion from about $57 billion seen in December 2018. Remember that peak was at about more than $300 billion when Bitcoin prices hit a record high of nearing $20,000 per Bitcoin. Now the mood question is whether Bitcoin prices will see and stage a comeback that we saw in December of 2017, or will prices languish at these levels? We spoke to Jason King, the CEO of CGS as well as Managing Director of Alef Capital, to get his perspective on the whole Bitcoin rally as well as what's his target. What's driving this Bitcoin rally? Why is it different from that seen in 2017? And is this a pump and a dump strategy used by a few investors?
One of the reasons Bitcoin recently have seen a pretty strong rise is due to perhaps the fact that the US and China are currently going through a trade war, which usually when these things happen, it affects the economics of various countries and thus affects the economies throughout the world. During turbulent times, Bitcoin have always proven to be a very strong safe haven. Another is just a natural price discovery of Bitcoin. So of course, if you really understood what Bitcoin is, you understand the importance of Bitcoin in our times. It is one of the most powerful inventions that the world have seen since computer science was invented. And most importantly, it introduced digital scarcity in a world we live in, which is increasingly and exponentially heading into digitization and digital world.
We moved on by asking him his price target on Bitcoin, because last time when prices were at 20,000 in December of 2017, people made atrocious price targets of even more than $200,000.
History never repeats itself, but it always shows resemblances. So this kind of parabolic rise to a dramatic drop has occurred, probably over 8 to 10 times in Bitcoin's history. In the early days, Bitcoin market is very immature. It's just recently been recognized as a new asset class. So what we're really seeing is just the mainstream adoption of Bitcoin. Ultimately, where I think we're going to see over the next few years, you're going to have sovereign wealth funds. You're going to have central banks. You're going to have nations begin buying up Bitcoins in a anticipation as the new gold reserve. I used to worry a lot about the Bitcoin price. In the early days, in the early days when you're trading Bitcoin, you're like, oh, the price went up like $30, or when it's only like $2, it's crazy. But over time, the way everyone gives predictions, but the most important thing on the flip side to realize, one Bitcoin has always equaled one Bitcoin. That fact will never change. The true success of Bitcoin, I think, will be achieved when we no longer have to sell our Bitcoins.
We also asked him about his view on other smaller cryptocurrencies such as Ethereum or Litecoin. Are they worth considering to be an investment option?
Most of the alts are not desirable for investors, and you will see continued sell-off. They won't die, but the continued sell-off into Bitcoin, because at the end of the day, all of these alts, doesn't matter what you have, it's somehow always tied back to the beginning, which is Bitcoin. Everything, digital assets, crypto assets, blockchain, all these ICOs, IEOs, STOs, they all trade against Bitcoin somehow. So at the end of the day, when you sell off, they're all gonna push the value into Bitcoin. So you see the alts are not rising because we haven't really seen great projects that are coming out right now, or projects that have been building for the last 2-3 years ago, quietly in the background. And a lot of the new projects that are coming up right now, they're just trying to sort of capture the money. Because at the end of the day, I think, for myself, a key differentiation between a good company and a bad company is, if your business model is just to come and utilize crypto to raise money, then I think you shouldn't be doing this, because it doesn't matter if you're using crypto to raise money or going and ask money in a traditional sense. If you don't have a good business model and good business plan, it doesn't matter what technology you use, it will not make your company better.
He also gave us details on the exciting project that he's working on currently on tokenization, and this is what he had to say.
These proof of concepts under the current technology stack is not able to facilitate cross communication. You need a hybrid solution that can facilitate both private and public blockchains. If you look at all the blockchains right now that exist today, think of them as single core CPUs. Whereas Alef, what we have built, is the first multi-core CPU with parallel processing.
It was fascinating to discuss about the virtual world in the real world. Please leave your thoughts below, and also don't forget to subscribe to our Gulf News channel. That's it from us, and thanks for watching, and happy investing till then.